Hi everyone, it's Gina from Gina K Designs and welcome back to another 5-minute card video. This one may go a couple minutes longer, but I think it's worth the watch. Today I'm going to show you the double stencil technique. Now I've done this before in my videos, but I've never done it with this beautiful new bold bouquet stencil. So I'm going to show you how pretty this one works with this technique. So I'm starting by lining up the stencil where I want it on my piece of cardstock. And this cardstock measures 3 3/4 inches by 5 inches. And then I'm just going to tape down parts of the back here using a little bit of washi tape. Now I'm going to start with my red ink. So I'm using some red hot ink, and I'm going to start right in the middle of the big bold floral design. And I'm just adding some ink, heavy in the center and lighter as I go up toward the edges of the petals. Now it's okay if a little bit of your red gets on the areas that you want green and vice versa. It's not going to make that much of a difference when you see this card when it's all complete. But for this area up here, I did cut a little triangle post-it note, and I'm just going to pop that on there, and then I'm going to add a little bit of ink up here like that. Then I'm just going to move that over to this side just to get in there. And then I'm going to move it over to this side just to get up in this area. I will get some red on my nail. And then I'm going to put it right along the side here because all these areas I want to be green. I don't want them to be red, although if a little red hits the top of each of those, that's totally fine. I'm going to use this same little piece of post-it note paper that I cut into a triangle right here on this stem. And then using a smaller blending brush, I'm going to add some red onto these areas. These are the two little bulbs. Seam down here, and then add a little red up into here. If you want to add a little more ink, you can. Okay, now that I have the red areas done, I'm going to move to the green areas. I'm going to use some Lucky Clover ink for this, and I'm going to start down here on these big broadleaves, working that green around. And again, if I get a little bit on the tips of the petals, it really doesn't matter. It'll all look really good. If you're super concerned about that, you can always mask it off with masking paper. But I'm not that concerned with it, and you'll see how pretty it looks even though some of those colors blend together. I'm going to be a little bit careful down here. Get that green blended up into there. And up into that leaf. And I'm kind of doing a back and forth motion in here to get the ink in there. And that kind of avoids that petal a little bit, but again, I'm not very worried about it. It's actually kind of pretty when it all blends together and you get a little bit of that red into the green and the green into the red. Okay, so once that's done, now I'm leaving this first stencil on there, and I'm going to pop the Fizzy stencil right on top. And I am going to take a little bit of washi tape and tape that down so it doesn't move as I'm working on these areas. Don't take that bottom stencil off. Now I'm going to use red ink, and I'm going to go all over this flower here with a little bit of a heavier hand, adding those dots into that flower. Then I'm going to add a little bit up here and onto this one, and then up into this one. And you can see I'm really not very concerned at all about the green areas. Okay, but I do want to make sure I do get it on all the red areas. Okay, now I'm going to use a tiny blending brush with the Lucky Clover, and I'm going to go all around the leaf areas, adding green dots to those leafy areas. Now I can't really see everywhere that I'm supposed to be blending, so I'm just looking for random green areas under here, and I'm just blending over that area. Of course, I'm not worried about going outside of the lines because that other stencil is underneath there protecting me from doing that. Okay, and and on this part right here. All right, now once all of that is done, you could stop right there, and that would certainly be a 5-minute card. And just pop it onto your card base and you're ready to go with a greeting. But I want to add one more thing, and this is why my video is going to go a little bit longer today, but I don't really care. It's totally fine. That was sticky washi tape. You might want to use something a little less sticky. I'm going to use a BG10 Copic marker, and I'm going to go around the outside of this image with this BG10. And it's totally fine. You can do this over our dye ink because our dye ink is Copic friendly. Dries almost instantly, so you don't have to worry about heat setting it. And I'm just going to go all around the outside of this design. And this is BG10. Just like this. Just kind of get in there a little bit. Go around the leaves, down around the petal. All right. Go around here. And that just adds a little bit of a nice hazy shadow on top. Then I'm going to pop this onto a black layer. And the whole thing is going to go onto an innocent pink card base. I really love the innocent pink with this. And then once that's done, I've used the stamp set Forever Flowers, which is a really nice stamp set, nice floral stamp set. But I've used the Best Friends Forever Greeting, and I've already set that up in my Misty. And I'm going to use a little bit of black ink for that. I'm going to ink that up. And I'm going to pop that right onto my card. I'm going to do it twice just to get a nice solid black, since it's going over quite a bright, vibrant color there. All right, and there is my finished card project. Now I decided to jazz up my sample. Let me move this out of the way here. I decided to jazz up my sample with a few sequins, and you can see what that will look like when you add the sequins on there. Well, I hope you enjoyed today's 5-minute card video, and I hope you'll give this technique a try. Stay tuned to my channel for more 5-minute card videos, 5-minute technique videos, and more Stamp and Chat live videos. Thanks so much for joining me, and have a great day.